My name is Marilyn Elkins, and my son is serving a 25 to life term. He's currently at San Quentin. When my son was arrested, it was the most devastating thing that happened in my life. Other than my mom's death, it was the next to the most devastating thing that I'd ever experienced. I had thought one time before, when he first got in trouble, that I'd rather see him dead than in jail. And of course I was totally wrong, but that was my estimation of being in prison. It was equal to or as bad as being dead. Of course, since then I've changed my whole opinion on that, and we've come a long way. My son has been down now for going on 19 years, so it's been a long, difficult journey. You have all the emotions to deal with. You have the frustrations of what if I'd have done this different? Could I have done that? Why is this happening to our family? And it's very difficult when you go to functions at work or social functions. Everyone's talking about their children, and they're in this college or that college, or on the dean's list. And what do you say about your son? Well, mine's serving 25 to life. I found it, very difficult. For people that didn't know, I would tell them when I'd go back home to visit. They would ask how everybody was, and I'd tell them what Jeff was doing, but I could never say where he was doing it. I could only be half honest. And when he was first arrested, people would ask how I was doing and how Karen was doing, but they'd never mention him, because I think they just didn't know how to approach the subject, to know how he was doing. It was like he no longer existed in our life. And it's not something you can tell people, because it's not accepted, totally not accepted. And you are judged as though you had done something wrong equally. You are treated as though you had also committed a crime. My Kairos Outside weekend was just a wonderful weekend. I found that I thought I'd pretty much dealt with everything I had to deal with, but I found I'd just stuffed it. And I was able to deal with a lot of issues that I needed to get rid of: anger and guilt. I still needed to forgive some people. I've forgiven my son long ago. That was pretty easy to do because he's my son and I love him dearly. But it's not so easy to forgive others who you felt have been unfair. On my Kairos Outside weekend, I found unconditional love, acceptance. I could freely talk about all the frustrations I'd gone through.
My name is Stella Black, and my husband was incarcerated about 3 years ago, and he's since now come home and joined me on my path with the Lord. Life before he went in, our lives were, all I could say is our life we're headed down the road of destruction. We were involved in drugs and alcohol. Our life didn't have a purpose, it didn't have direction or focus, and we didn't have any goals in life. For my husband serving time, it was me serving time right along with him. I had a long journey ahead of me, and I didn't know what to do, how to strengthen myself, and because I was becoming so weak. So I attended Kairos Outside, and through them I found the Lord. It was an awakening for me. It was a renewing of my faith. The women that I met there could understand the pain that I went through. They knew, because they too had gone through such pain and heartbreak and confusion and destruction of their life, and they too had children. So it was a blessing for me. It was a true blessing from God to find a group of women that had a husband that made the wrong choice, or a son, or a daughter. And so through Kairos Outside, I turned my life around. And when my husband returned home, he too seen all the goodness that came through me, and he wanted part of that. And when he came home, he was asked to work on a Kairos Outside team, and he did, and it was a true blessing. Because our life is so much richer now.
I was inside for 4 years, and it really helped out a lot for my preparing to come home. And after I came home, I participated in the Kairos Outside 6 months after I was released.
My name's Tina, and I was in Kairos Outside 2 years ago. It too has helped me with our marriage and with life and with the different people that I meet up with every day, and it's really made a difference.
Kairos Inside, when I went, there was a blank spot, and I hadn't been going to church or anything, or going around any people that were going to church. And I think I was going around all the wrong people. I was heading the right way, but going around the wrong people. And I saw some happy people and started hanging out with them, and they said, you know, you want to try Kairos? And I said, yeah, and my wife was introduced to it from another friend of mine's wife in the visiting room. And it helped us have a little bond, something that we could share with each other, that I did inside, that she did outside, and it all had a positive outlook instead of all the negative things around us in prison. And there's things that we use that we learn from it at home as well.
And for me, it's really made a difference in how we've been able to adjust to each other. We've been through a lot of different trials and many, many hurdles. And the biggest thing I think I learned in Kairos was the unconditional love. And that's been definitely portrayed in our marriage since he's been home.
Since I've come home, we've been able to share together the closuras here at this Kairos Outside. And then we participated in the weekend last summer. And then we're here again today for the closure, and we're angels to help. And we've already been invited, which is a pleasure, to help out in another Kairos in the near future. But it's like a reunion, and being in prison, something that I'll never forget. But this is one thing that I could say I took home from prison that I'll always enjoy the rest of my life. And as long as there's Kairos, I'll be there for them.
My name is David Ng. My relationship to Kairos Outside is my mother. About how I saw the change. I'm really sensitive to body language. That's the first thing that I saw was the body language. After she went through the program, it was kind of like she held her head up higher. That was the big thing I noticed. Another thing is I know my mom likes to keep busy in order from, I don't know what the reasons are, but she likes to keep busy, and I think one of these things is really good for her. Ongoing on how it changed things. I know it kind of helped my mother kind of polish that go out and get it type of attitude. I know it was a lot of trouble before Kairos to actually get up and do these things, but the more of the doing and a lot of talk has definitely the ratio has changed. There is a lot of do. Those are the strongest things that I could think about. The fact is, she seemed a hell of a lot brighter afterwards. And the house got cleaner. That's it. Yeah, the house got prettier all of a sudden. It was like more like it had a gloomy effect before. Now it's kind of bright.
My name is Denise Dawson, and 8 years ago I had a very close friend who was arrested, spent a year under house arrest, and then was incarcerated for almost 7 years. He's recently been paroled. During that time, I was seeing him on a fairly frequent basis. Visiting is a very difficult thing to do. Having someone that you care about and love incarcerated is a continual worry, a horrendous burden. It becomes tiring, it becomes oppressive. There's family issues to deal with, there are legal issues to deal with. Supporting them is extremely difficult, and you find that your life, the incarceration, takes over your life. Everything becomes about that person who's incarcerated. And of course, if you're married and you have children involved, it's even an added dimension. And you find that there's nobody you can talk to about it. It is the biggest secret in your life. To come out and admit in a public place somewhere that, at your job or even your church, that you're supporting someone who's been sent to prison, it's a very negative thing. We have women in our community who have lost jobs and homes and lives because of it. And I was in a very, very sad state of affairs before I came and did my Kairos Outside weekend. Don had done a Kairos Inside and had suggested, or a friend of his had done an Inside and strongly suggested that I do a Kairos Outside. And I was very, very suspicious. I wondered, what do these church ladies want from me? It's going to be about dragging me off to church and converting me and putting demands on my life. And I went only to make Don happy. And it has become the most miraculous thing in my life. It has totally changed my life. It has, I can say that the most it's done is renewed my spiritual life. The least it's done is saved my physical life, because I was so depressed when I came. And these women and these men who are part of this community and part of this work totally accepted me for who I was. I was not judged. I was not asked to be anything or do anything. And I found myself, for the first time in my life, coming face to face with Christ, with God, in these men and women. And it's the first time I've tangibly felt and seen unconditional love. And they have become my extended family. They have become my community. I think you spend all the time while they're on the inside waiting for them to come home. You put so much energy into supporting them, and you let all your own support systems go. And Kairos Outside was really, really there for me through some really difficult times while he was on the inside. When he came home, when they come home, you think that all the problems will be over. And you spend so much time focusing on getting them home in one whole piece that you feel that that magical time, that line in the sand, that when they're released, that life will change. And it does change. But you continue to need that support. You need that spiritual place to go to, garner that support. I was lucky in that Don was able to do Kairos Inside, so we had something in common, and we look forward to that time when we can share that together. But this last few months since he's come home have been tough. And if it wasn't for this community, if it wasn't for finding God in these people, I don't think we would have made it, either of us, because it's allowed me to be supportive for him, to really support him in the way I would like to, and it's given me a place for spiritual growth in my own life. It's given me a direction, and it's taught me how to love. And I think, for me, that's the greatest gift that I've been given, this organization.